Hello children. Today we are going to start second lecture of this chapter, that is fundamental unit of life. So in the previous chapter we learned about why this is known as the fundamental unit of life. Also we learned about historical aspects of the cell and related discoveries. Today we are moving ahead and we will familiarize ourselves with what is so special about the cell. So let us go there. Here, let me show you various life forms, and if you understand, these life forms represent various kingdoms of life, that is Monera, which are prokaryotic unicellular organisms, Protista, eukaryotic unicellular organisms, and then fungi, from simple bread mold to exotic mushrooms, and then kingdom Plantae, which is represented by algae till very complex angiospermic plants, and kingdom Animalia is represented by simple sponges and very complex primate mammals, of which human beings are the most complex and highly developed organisms. So why am I showing you this diversity of life? To emphasize once more that all of them are made up of cell. Maybe they are made up of just one cell like amoeba, paramecium and various bacteria, or they are multicellular as in case of fungi, plants and animals. But then, how the cell is able to perform all the life processes, whether it is occurring independently or it is present in a group, giving rise to complex body forms like this one. For this, we need to understand a concept known as division of labor. So what is division of labor? In simple terms, division of labor is the distribution of work among various components of any system. And here we are talking about the cellular system or the living system. Division of labor increases the efficiency of any system. For example, we have a very complex but efficient body, and human body has different organ and organ systems to take care of all the processes which are required to keep us living. For example, pumping of blood by heart, digestion of food by various parts of alimentary canal, thinking and taking appropriate actions by brain, excretion by the excretory system involving kidneys, movement with the help of muscles and bones. So you see that particular function is assigned to a particular system, and that's how we are able to function very efficiently. And all these processes are performed in a single cell as well, because remember, cell is the basic unit of life. So let us see how a cell shows division of labor. So let us see some important life processes such as gaseous exchange, nutrition, overall regulation of the cellular activities, metabolism, etc., food storage, osmoregulation, and how these processes take place in a complex multicellular body, and how do they happen in unicellular organism, that is single cell. So in multicellular organisms, gaseous exchange requires special organs like gills, lungs. For nutrition and excretion, we have alimentary canal, and overall regulation of the bodily process and metabolism is taken care by the nervous system. For food storage, we have liver, fat tissue, etc. For osmoregulation, we have kidneys. And interestingly, a single cell is also doing all these processes. How? In a single cell, plasma membrane is that barrier which allows gases, essential gases, to be exchanged and enter the cytoplasm or leave cytoplasm. For nutrition and excretion purposes, the cell has vacuoles. For overall regulation of the cellular processes, nucleus is the command center, which is also known as brain of the cell. For food storage, the cell has various kinds of vacuoles. For osmoregulation, once again, vacuoles play very important role. And other than these few cell organelles, there are so many other cell organelles like plastids, mitochondria, lysosomes, ribosomes, which make a cell a fully functional, independent unit of life. So, now we will start learning about the structural organization of the cell. So let us have a look at structure of a typical cell. So here you are seeing a number of cell organelles for which we need to wait till next lecture, but we will learn about each and every cell organelle in detail and what functions do they perform. Here I want to focus your attention towards this barrier, this covering which is enclosing everything that is present inside a cell, including all the organelles and cytoplasm. And this barrier or covering is plasma membrane. So let us start familiarizing ourselves with plasma membrane. So plasma membrane is also known as cell membrane. If we look closely, it is separating the cellular environment from the outside environment. So what are the specific points to remember about plasma membrane? Plasma membrane is flexible and it is made up of organic molecules like lipids and proteins. So plasma membrane is a lipid bilayer. So you can see the two layers over here, but this is just a representative diagram, so you cannot see the proteins. But proteins are also present embedded in the membrane or on the surface of the lipid molecules. The two major components of plasma membrane will always be lipids and proteins. Now, this is the outermost covering of the cell. In most cases, children, I will tell you about the cell wall, which is another covering, but that is not universal. Plasma membrane is the universal outermost covering of all the cells, which separates the contents of the cell from its external environment, as you can see here. Then, plasma membrane permits the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cell and prevents movement of some other materials. Now, this point requires special attention because children, this is not just an ordinary barrier. This is that layer which maintains the inner environment of the cell. And to be able to do that, it has to select essential molecules to enter the cell or waste molecules to leave the cell. But at the same time, it should also prevent the movement of non-required or harmful substances to enter the cell. And since the membrane selects which molecules can enter or leave the cell, it is known as selectively permeable membrane. So remember, plasma membrane, which is also known as cell membrane, is a selectively permeable membrane because it permits the entry and exit of some materials but prevents the movement of other materials, and that is how it maintains the cellular environment of the cell. Now, in my next lecture, we are going to talk about movement of substances across the membrane, because I just told you that plasma membrane will allow certain molecules to enter the cell and will not allow other molecules to enter the cell. So how some molecules move across the membrane, what are those processes? We will learn about them. To give you a head start, let me tell you that we are going to talk about diffusion, osmosis, and different types of osmotic phenomena in my next lecture. So please revise your notes, go through the video, and come prepared in the next class. Thank you so much.